Hello, everybody. Happy Friday. I got my mans in the back joining me for a little review session that I feel like that is important. Just kind of looking at different review articles or just looking at different journals in reference to this thing, creatine. I know that it's a popular thing going on as far as taking it to, from what I've seen on social media, people would take it in reference to kind of growing their glutes. Um, and creatine does help with that. It helps to increase performance as well as kind of increase the musculature of whatever it is that you are working. Now, the supplementation industry, from my understanding, is a $1 billion industry. And having it be a $1 billion industry, individuals are just coming out. I feel like everybody's just coming out with anything, and I think, I think it's going to catch up with us eventually. But one thing that I think you guys should be mindful of is that if you are one who struggles to get water in your system, it's not for you. Okay, if you are one, I'm one that sometimes forgets to drink water. Like I just bought this morning. This should have been gone. It should have been gone. But and I buy water up and down, and it has nothing to do with me not liking the taste of water. I actually love water. But it's because I'm doing a million other things, and in the back of my mind, I know I got to pee, and I drink a lot of water, and so I feel like that. I feel like I'm peeing like every 5 minutes, but water is super beneficial for you. It helps with clearing the skin. I'm a allergy sufferer, and I have issues with sinuses. Um, in addition to proclaiming the blood of Jesus over my healing, but I drink a lot of water. Um, and with that being said, when I don't drink enough water, um, yeah, when I don't drink enough water, I feel gross when I'm dehydrated. For example, when I'm dehydrated, my sleep pattern, I don't know if you guys have noticed that your sleeping pattern is at its worst. Okay. Part of that is because most of us are over caffeinated and dehydrated, or overstimulated with a lot of sugar and dehydrated. Um, so yeah, those are just things to be mindful of. There is a study, as I'm looking at it right now, that reported as a result, reported one's 20-year-old in the study with acute renal failure by taking 20 milligrams of creatine in a period of 4 weeks. But that's still kind of under review because I think they need to see if this kind of increases levels in the kidneys um, and increase creatine levels in the kidneys from what my doctor has told me is a sign of dehydration. And so probably not a good idea that if you've had some blood work done and you do have increased creatine levels in your kidneys, probably not a good idea to add to the fire. So this puppy is getting returned because I've been to the doctor, and even though she said that it's not high, but um, she did see that it was kind of spiked up a little bit as far as my creatine levels. And she asked for family history. I said no one doesn't have anything. And then she asked, "Are you dehydrated?" She said, "Are you drinking?" She said, "Are you drinking the water that you're supposed to?" No, no, I'm not. So we just have to be careful about um, seeing, looking at social media and deciding to take certain supplements for whatever reason. Um, and I sometimes I ask myself this, like, Patrice, well, what is it that you're trying to achieve in taking this? And ideally, what I'm looking for mostly is some weight loss, as well as strength training is important to me because it is good for um, glucose management. I think people sleep on strength training partly because they think that, oh, it's going to make you bulky and all sort of stuff. No, what makes you bulky is taking in too many calories. That's what makes you bulky. Taking in too many calories, you're not operating in a deficit. Just what it is. And then, of course, with you taking in so many calories and you want to go in and lift heavy, especially your legs, um, that'll do it. That'll do it. So I just want to be very mindful about taking in certain supplements. Um, I look at it like this: like, is there a need for me to take it? And how can I put it in my food? So if you are not one to take this, then eat food, eat quality food, eat good food. Be mindful that you still are operating in a deficit, but it might be time to go heavier. It might be time to go a little heavier, but do it gradually. Don't just take huge steps um, and injure yourself for the sake of social media. So you have to be careful. And I think that because there's side effects to all this. It's is this one of these things that is gonna make you loopy, make you sleepy? I asked myself that question. That's the reason why I stopped taking pre-workout. I stopped taking pre-workout partly because I already get a cup of coffee in almost every day. That's enough. That's enough. So let's be more mindful of our diets. Um, just to, and I think about it on a spiritual level. Like I am mindful of that diet too. Um, One of the things that my cousin and I we talk about it that just being mindful of who's preaching to you. Okay, just gotta be mindful of it. And it's not about judging that individual or anything like that. You have to know enough word to know discernment, whether you know that this is for you or not. And so I pray that we all pray often and get into our word to know when something just not quite right, when something's not lining up here. And I'm almost at the point where I think about it with some supplementations too. It's like, and you think about it, that's kind of the thing for multivitamins. You hear all along for years and years and years. I don't know about you guys, but I grew up taking Flintstone multivitamins. My mom made me eat it every morning. She would take a Flintstone vitamin and put it at the corner of, like, if I had a bowl of cereal, if I had a Pop Tart, if I had a toaster strudel. She would put my breakfast on a napkin or a plate and put the Flintstone thing right at the top of the plate alongside either a cup of orange juice or a cup of water. And I had to take it no matter what. Like my mom made me take that thing as nasty as it was. Okay. I had to do that and cod liver oil. Nasty, but very helpful. Okay. Very helpful. I don't really recall having a lot of 6 days growing up as a kid. Maybe one or two, but that was it. Um, but you think about multivitamins now, like they're saying that some multivitamins are just no good. They're full of caffeine, they're full of gluten, they're full of yeast. Um, so at one point, we have to get back and look at our diets and see what it is that we're really eating. Is your plate colorful? Does it have green, red, orange, brown, or is it one side brown, one side orange? Meaning carbs and meat. We have to get back into eating our vegetables, okay? And I'm not telling you and judging you if you don't eat vegetables. Sometimes I struggle with that too, and that does not mean go get chlorophyll and go get this powdered stuff and go eat your vegetables. No, if you're gonna break down the vegetable, just do it yourself, okay? Just get the vegetable, break it down into a blender, whatever the case may be, and just do it yourself because a lot of these green brands, like it's not complete. Like it's just been because it's been broken down, so it could be contained and stored and have a long shelf life. Have lost its power of being a vegetable and providing you with the nutrients you need. And so I think that could be the reason why there's a need for nutritionists. If I could go back to school, if I wanted to go back to school, I definitely would consider nutrition just to become a dietitian because um, it's so important for you to know what it is that you need to eat as far as having a balanced diet. Um, but if you are one that likes shrimp and grits every now and again, listen, I'm not one to judge because I love shrimp and grits. Okay. Um, but yeah, I just wanted to hop on here, not only to talk about probably leaving this baby alone if you struggle with getting in water. And I think some people mix it with water, but it's still creatine. Okay, if you struggle with being dehydrated, if you're not one to get your regular water in and then some, or maybe your physician has told you, hey, your levels in your kidneys are off, probably not for you. Definitely think about like getting some outside blood work. Generally, you can get like a holistic doctor that'll sometimes pull your blood work, like every part that's going on in your body. And that's always a good tool to kind of fall back on and allow that holistic doctor to kind of really tell you what's going on, or a physician, like from traditional methods, hospital, that type of thing. And then let's really invest in nutritionists or dietitians. Um, Most of us are not always going to get it right. Most of us struggle with trying to figure out what's good, what's bad. Most of us are emotional eaters. I think, I was praying one day, and, food is an idol for a lot of people. We are a slave to food. And could be because we grew up not having a lot of it, not having enough of it, not having those options as you wanted, or we grew up in situations where food was comfort, as a form of comfort. So we eat out of emotional responses. Um, and it could be something simple. Like I said, I'm guilty. Every now and again when I feel stressed, I got to grab me a candy bar. Okay, I'm definitely my mother's child. Okay, because she did that. Get an ice cream cone, get a candy bar, and it's hard. It's hard. So it's so important that we pray and maybe fast to get rid of those idols that we've created in food. And even with just fasting, you think about it, fasting can be difficult because the sheer thought of you not eating for a certain amount of time is hard for a lot of people. And so some people are like, oh, no, I ain't touching that. But even then, you think about it, when you're like, no, I ain't touching that. I'm not going without eating. You've created an idol. You've created an idol. So, and what I mean by that is that you say in your mind that, um, I gotta go get me, it's Friday, I gotta go get me a payday meal. I was like that. That's why I say that. People want to get you a payday meal, yeah, because you got extra funds in your account, so you about to go in on some Longhorn. You about to get the side with the extra side, okay? So, we have to be careful. We have to be careful. I'm not telling you what you should and should not do. Not my place. But we have to be careful about creating these idols in food. And even creating these idols about images, right? So I'm human. I ain't gonna lie to you. The reason why I saw this is because everybody was boasting this thing up because they noticed that their booty was getting bigger, okay? Now, to be transparent, I was like, yeah, you gotta grow these glutes. That's what I'm talking about. Because eventually I would like to compete in a fitness and wellness competition. And part of that is nice glutes. But then I said, no, Patrice, you could do better. You know what I'm saying? You could do better. You could, to be show ready, you don't need to add supplementation, because one thing that I've learned is that sometimes when you're constantly adding outside resources and all this other stuff, when it goes, you can become addicted to it, and then that thing is an idol. No, you just gotta be careful. You gotta be careful, because them spirits can come in fast and quick, and what you think might be harmless might be harmful. Just gotta be careful. And supplementation is one thing. Now, one thing I do, I take a probiotic for women, I take an iron tablet, and I take an omega-3. That's it. I do my best to get it in through my diet. So we just got to be careful about taking in extra things, because it's probably not necessary. It's probably not necessary unless you being diagnosed with some kind of chronic illness, and it may be. But I just wanted to hop on here and say that check what you're idolizing, because I sure was in the wrong for that. Check what you're idolizing, and yeah, just double. I can't even put to words how important it is to just be mindful of what you're idolizing, because it can rob you of your time. It can rob you of your money. This was $60. Yes, it's going back. It can rob you of your peace. If anything that you are adding is robbing you of certain things, like if I took this and I already had a slightly elevated dehydration level in my kidneys from my last visit, this could essentially make things worse, robbing me of my peace. So you have to be very careful with that. And we've all done it. We all do things that just kind of, we're thinking that this is going to be beneficial, but did you consult God about it before you got into it? So I think those are things that we just got to be super duper mindful of, including me, by all means. So, but just wanted to hop on here and address that. I know I said that already. Do your research. Just do your research. Talk to your physician. Talk to a holistic doctor about taking any added supplements, because more than likely, probably can get it through food. I hope this helps. I love you. Have a great weekend.